Get in it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our virtual tasting tonight. My name is Steve Akeley, and we've got a fun one. This is the $1,000 whiskey tasting. So that is a very cool thing. And this comes from the name that, if you were to procure all three of these bottles, you would be into it well over $1,000. So we thought that we would package three really great whiskeys all together. We're going to be trying a JimBeam 1967 from an old decanter. Then we've got Old Foe batch number 2. We'll talk about why that one's special. And then last but not least, a very limited release from Barrell Craft Spirits, a 24-year-old age-stated product. So should be fun. We'll get into all those individually as we talk about those. And we'll do these things as we always do. We'll taste them twice. We'll go through one time, taste it, and then we will taste it second time, and then see what we think after time number 2. And then we will have some fun at the end, and we'll vote for which is our favorite of the night. We'll see who wins the night, and we'll just simply vote on which is our favorite. So that's how we'll do things at the end of the night. Very simple format. So with that, let's go ahead and pour our second one, which will be the Old Forester. Let's have that one sitting. So we always pour one ahead, and we're getting ready to talk about our first one, which is the Beam. So let's put that aside and grab that Beam, and that's the one we're going to talk about. So this JimBeam is from a decanter. It's from 1967. It's Nebraska decanter. There's actually 2 of them put together. So because they use natural corks in those old decanters, to get a full one, which we would need a full bottle to do the sampling that we got tonight, because we do have a sellout. To get you need a full bottle. Of course, these decanters are not full. They experience some age loss in the 50+ years that this product has been out there. So this is 2 merged together. It comes in. They give you that crazy thing, 110 months. Does anybody just automatically thinking they know what 110 months is without even thinking? I got to get out the calculator. What's 110 months? And that would make it 9 years age stated. 9 years age stated. So this one came out in 1967, which we then know it means it was distilled in 1958. What's cool about that is distilled in 1958 means that your master distiller was Jeremiah Beam, which is pretty cool stuff. So Jeremiah Beam was the distiller. He is. I don't think he's forgotten at all by the Beam family. Very important in Beam family history. But I think to the general population, I don't think most people know who Jeremiah Beam is. I don't think that's a name that stands out. There's not any products named after him or anything like that. So you think of Booker's, or you think of Baker's. There's a lot of JimBeam products named after some of the big names from the history, and of course the main product itself, and the distillery is named after Colonel James Beam, and he's the one that gets most of the credit, and under his watch, really the company grew. But let's not forget when all of this happened. And we're talking post-prohibition, because before prohibition, there were a company called Old Tub, and they were just another bourbon distillery. They were certainly big, but I don't even know that they were necessarily the biggest at that time. Matter of fact, I don't think they were. And if things would have worked out differently, we might not know the Beam families we do today. And I think today we think of bourbon. If we had to name one family, I think that family is the Beams. I think that the Beams are so associated with bourbon, and they're the big deal. JimBeam is the biggest bourbon company in the world. But things would be very different. And the person who really made that happen was Jeremiah Beam. So after prohibition, JimBeam, of course, was old. He was in his late 70s, I believe. So they get the distillery built in 90 days, get it back up and running, that had been shut down for prohibition. A lot of the stuff sold off. So they had to basically rebuild in this very short time frame. And JimBeam was the leader during that, and certainly the motivator and the person behind the scenes coordinating all of that. But then who really took the reins, day-to-day operations, was his son, Jeremiah Beam. And Jeremiah Beam takes it from this Kentucky brand that is kind of in the middle of the pack, and ultimately turns it into the biggest in the world. It gets, starts taking it globally and things like that. Today you can go to any corner of the world, basically, if they sell bourbon, JimBeam is going to be part of the mix that they have. JimBeam's just everywhere. And really that all started with Jeremiah Beam. He was the first one to really start taking the product and really getting large scale distribution. So great family history. Really, a lot of it goes through what he did, what he accomplished. You know, what's cool too is the Beams are such a great family. I've been to the house, the compound where now Fred No and Freddie No live. And before that, it was Booker No and Fred No. There's two homes there. And in the middle, they got like a big, the man cave where they do a lot of events and things like that. And they got the pool in between the houses. But you know, if you stroll the grounds and you get a tour, which is really cool, there's some interesting things there, and the past family members that live there, it's, you know, their marks on it, all the way from Freddie. When I went to the house, Freddie showed me where Jeremiah Beam, as a kid, had carved his initials into what is now the smokehouse. So it was, you know, the family always liked to smoke meats, and that smokehouse you can still see right there on the main drag in Bardstown. But yeah, Jeremiah Beam, when they were doing some reconstruction, they were fixing some things up. It had been painted over and all that kind of look. And as they started looking at it, they're like, wait a minute, that's TJ. TJB initials. Well, they know who that is. Jeremiah Beam. So very cool stuff. And yeah, it just gives you an idea about those folks. And Jeremiah Beam, I talked to Freddie about him and his role as a distiller. I know he was a great businessman, but was he a great distiller as well? And he says, absolutely. So what's so cool about bourbon is we can go back and taste history. And that's what we're going to be tasting tonight. Something distilled by Jeremiah Beam, one of the all-time greats from the world of bourbon. So I think that's pretty cool stuff just by itself. And this one is an 86 proof. And let's give this thing a try. Let's start out with our nosing notes. Jim, what do you got?
Yeah. Do we happen to know how long this is actually aged? Because the color on it is I think it's the best of the three.
Yeah.
That's this right now.
Yeah. So it's over 9 years. So 110 months is the age on this one. So it's that weird thing where they put you know, number of months, and then yeah. So and you know, if you talk to you know, like a Freddie No or a Fred No, they'll tell you that, you know, this comes from the time 67. Things start slowing down in the world of bourbon. So in reality, there's probably, you know, 9 year is the youngest product that's in there. It's probably all a lot older than that, as they try to, you know, get rid of, divest some inventory. It'd be not uncommon to get 17, 18-year-old bourbon in there. So yeah, the color you know, probably comes from that, what we're talking. So all right, let's start this one by talking about on the nose, and I will just throw it out there. You can open up your mics, feel free. The only time I would ask you to turn off your mics, if sure there's some background noise, whether you have to talk to someone or need to take a phone call or anything like that. Other than that, you can keep your mics open. I'm fine with that. But what do you guys think on the nose? It's pretty solid, right? I mean, yep. When we talk about dusties, we talk about this kind of dusty funk. Maybe there's a little bit of that there, but not a whole lot. I mean, to me, that just smells like, you know, good bourbon. I mean, not necessarily tied to being just old bourbon.
Tutti fruity.
Tutti fruity. Okay, there we go. Now we're rolling.
Yeah, a little bit of, it's some type of floral. Haven't figured out what it is yet, but
floral.
Yeah, I get that too. It's like sweetness and then a little hint of something, maybe like a violet or something like that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I was going to say exactly what you just said. It doesn't have that dusty smell to it. Just maybe a tiny bit, but not as strong.
Right. Yeah. Not very strong on that, which a lot of these, because they've been decanted up for so long. And I do decant these individually. So I have a 1.75, the old Jack Daniel's Bell of Lincoln bottle. If you've ever seen those big bulbous bottles, it's a 1.75. I'll decant them in those. So that's what I took the two and poured them in there and kept it in there actually a couple months. So it gives a little bit of air to it. Kind of opens it up a little bit, I always feel, versus just taking it out, pouring it into your sample bottles and then send it to you. I don't think that's the best way to handle something that's been in a bottle over 50 years. So
anyone pick up any caramel or butterscotch in there?
Oh yeah.
Maybe a little lavender.
Yeah, lavender. Maybe that's the floral scent that I was getting.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
definitely
lavender.
caramel and, you know, the wood.
Maybe even candy corn. I mean, a little sweetness and caramelly, you know, candy corn. All right, let's taste this thing and see what we got. I'll call on some of you individually, but you feel free, if you've got a note that you want to put out there, please do state it, and that's fine. So on that note, cheers, gang.
Cheers.
One more time. Okay.
I mean,
That's oaky for 10 years,
mm-hmm,
9 years.
mm-hmm.
And oaky.
It's definitely got some of that going on there for sure. But it's sweet up front. I mean, kind of you get the oak on the back end of the palate. But and it feels like it sticks with you for a while too. I mean, I can't say it's hot, but 86 proof, which is not a proof that I'm normally going after. But again, I think we found by doing enough of these that 86 proof in the old days is different than 86 proof today.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the finish is nice.
Yeah, much nicer.
Mhm.
You know, one sip or two.
I'm just
Like I've drank it.
for now.
Yeah.
Probably take one more sip.
Kind of liquid caramel up front.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Mm.
got some 70s and 80s Beam decanters, and they have that kind of Beam peanut in them. They're much darker, they're much waxier, dark notes, and this one's still light and high sweet notes, high floral. This hasn't gone down into the peanuts. It hasn't gone down to it's kind of almost a waxy fruitiness.
Mhm.
In some ways, it kind of made me think more Scotch. There are some, I can think of some Highland Scotches that, ex-bourbon barrels that have this kind of level of really nice, sweet, floral. Oak tannins are there, but they're not the main star.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, it's pretty darn nice, that's for sure. All right, let's jump over to Scott and let's see what you're getting as I see you taking another taste there. So let's see what you two want to say about this one.
Well, yeah, we've had Dusties in the past, and they really come across as dusty on the palate.
Yes. Mhm.
This one just doesn't have that dustiness, if you will, to it. It's
Right.
nice and clean. I still get the caramel, the vanillas, the little bit
Mhm.
of floral stuff. And I like whoever said something about the oily. It's
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's a great point, Scott, because the mouthfeel on this one is nice. It's good. So many times you get those lower proof ones, and you're talking proof in the 80s. It can just taste like water. It has a consistency in your mouth of water. And to me, that's
no.
never good. That's not what I'm looking for at all.
this has a wonderful flavor. On the,
Yeah. Yeah.
Then a smooth finish. It's not a long one. It's just
Right.
smooth, just
Yep.
kind of melts away like butter.
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
nice, very nice. Much better than a lot of Dusties we've had in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. This is good. All right. Let's jump to one of the Mace team Mace here. Let's start with Nate. Nate, what are your thoughts here as you taste this one?
Mostly just like a kind of almost a sharp sweetness.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I like that.
pretty much the main hit that I'm getting, and not it's kind of hard to pick up on a whole lot else.
Hmm. No, I think that's good. I think that's a good way to state it. Sharp sweetness. I like that. Let's jump over to your brother next. Robert, what are your thoughts?
The sharp sweetness, I think, is a good way to describe it. It's getting sweeter to me over time.
Mhm.
I got more of the sharpness and the floral at the beginning. The longer I'm drinking, it's getting sweeter to me, and I think honestly, a lot of it is the mouthfeel that other people have mentioned, the kind of like oiliness. It seems to kind of like, I mean, the finish is pretty good, but it's even beyond the finish. It's like it sticks around, and I think that's why I'm continuing to perceive it as being even sweeter as the time goes on.
Right. Absolutely. So JL, as you're known on the screen there, we're just talking about our first one. So, and we're talking about the Beam, the Dusty Beam first. So just so you can follow along, that's the one we've got. We've already have in our glass poured the, we haven't tried it yet, but the next one that we're going to be trying is the Old Forester. So if you want to pour that too and kind of get that sitting, and then the last one will be the barrel that we're doing. So we're just talking about Beam now, so let you get caught up with us, because I still want to talk to several more people here. Dave, we'll jump to you next. What are your thoughts as you taste this one?
Yeah, I definitely agree that I don't know if it was your decanting process, but it just does not have that dusty taste at all.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's the post finish. I don't know what the term would be for it, but the first taste was kind of didn't leave much of an impression, seemed kind of light, but then just immediately blossomed into something that was really interesting. And like everyone has said, sweet.
Yeah, sweet. I'm kind of even getting some cereal grains in there too. So it's that's hard to believe, but yeah, getting some of that
That's
taste
classic,
going.
classic
Yeah.
bourbon flavors.
Yep.
I mean-
Yeah. Mr. Whitlatch, what are your thoughts on this one?
Getting a little cinnamon.
Mm-hmm.
in the
Yeah.
tail, but the finish is pretty interesting. It warms and builds, but it's all at the front of the mouth. Doesn't seem to be spreading to the back of the mouth and down the throat.
Yeah.
But it's nice and warm and it grows.
Yep. Yeah. Last but not least, again, we'll kind of divide up the group here based on it's a big size. You don't necessarily have to go to everybody unless you, and again, if there's something that you're saying just in your mind, it's just standing out, feel free to jump in and share it. That's okay. But I'll go to Jules last but not least as the last one officially I'll call on.
Well, as you know, I'm the novice here as far as picking out taste, but I do pick out a sweetness. I cannot identify it in the aroma.
Yeah.
I feel it across the entire palate, and I do pick up the heat in the back, but as it goes down, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really a nice sensation. It's just enough. It's just enough to let you know it's there without being overwhelming at all. So I think we're off to a great start. I'm pretty pleased with that. Again, anytime you're talking Dusties, it is definitely, it's a gamble. Some are great, some are not great, and it just depends. So let's take this one and put it aside. We'll
Hey,
come
Steve,
back to it.
I got one more note for you that might help with some of that is to me it was kind of like a red cream soda. So it's got that sweetness with a little bit of spice.
Yeah.
Steve, just a quick question for you. The term dusty, what is that?
The term dusty?
Yep.
Yeah, so the term dusty is not necessarily officially defined or anything like that, but dusty is the name that's given to old bourbon. So because bourbon will, if stored properly, will last forever. The accumulation of dust on bottles that are old gives it the nickname dusty. So dusty bourbon would be, And again, there's people, say they found something, wild turkey from 2000. That's a dusty, and it is what it is. Whatever you think a dusty is, it is. But this is over 50 years old. Clearly, this has to fall in the dusty label for sure. So that's what we're talking. So no big deal. All right. Let's move to our old foe. But before we get to old foe, again, because we pour ahead, let's pour that last one, the barrel. Let's get that just in the glass, the 24-year-old barrel. We're not going to talk about that one just yet. We're going to go to the Old Forester, and I'll tell you the story of this one before we get to the tasting part. So this is President's Choice, which was a historic label that Old Forester had, lasted through the 60s and 70s. But then went away. So it had been around for a long time, but for one reason or another, I guess they decided when the bourbon bust was going on, when bourbon wasn't popular, they were getting rid of some labels, and President's Choice was one of those that got discontinued. So with the opening of the new distillery back in 2018, they elected to bring back this historic brand. And I don't know if this is the way it was always done, but with the way that it would be done with the opening of the new distillery it would be literally the President's Choice. So the president of Old Forester at that time was Campbell Brown. I don't know what his official title is now because I know he's chairman of the board for Brown-Forman. So I don't know if he retains the president of Old Forester or not. But so it's literally was his choice as to what each batch was, and it's a barrel, so it's not a batch. Each barrel would be selected. But in talking with Campbell Brown, he put all that responsibility on their master taster, Jackie Zykan. So Jackie was the one who would actually select all these barrels, and when it would become time to release one, she would meet with Campbell and say, these are the options. And ultimately it was Campbell's choice. But behind the scenes, Jackie was the one maintaining all those barrels. What are the ones that stand out in a special way that would make this unique? So, and of course, for those of us that are really into bourbon, last week, Jackie Zykan announced she's leaving Old Forester and pursuing other opportunities. So that's a very interesting time in the world of bourbon. As we wait, what's going to happen with Jackie, where she's going. She's still with Old Forester at the moment. She will be there until July 1st. My understanding is there will not be an announcement as to where she's going until after July 1st. So, and that could be any number of things. She could be totally leaving the industry. She could be working for another distillery. She could be just doing her own consulting thing. I don't know. So we'll see what happens with that. This one here that we're going to be tasting is, to me, is the hit of the night. This one is the highlight here. If you bought this ticket, this is probably the one that you really wanted to taste, and it should be. This is from batch number 2. This is the first one that on large scale was sold to the public. So Old Forester, President's Choice, batch number 1, when they opened the distillery, that was given mostly to employees. So most of that barrel was given out to employees. What we got there? Batch 1. There we go. I see batch 1. And what's the other one? I can't read that. So batch 1. They're both batch 1. Are they both batch 1?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
So batch 1 was given mostly to employees, and they did an event though at the distillery. Scott, did you attend that event? Is that how you got that? Or?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Grand opening of the new Old
Yep.
Forester distillery down in Louisville.
Yep, that it did not go for sale in the gift shop. The process with subsequent ones was it'd be for sale in the gift shop. This one was not sold that way. You had to either be an employee or, like Scott, you had to go to that event and get your bottle there. So I do know another person, Jeremy Shell. If you listen to the Bourbon Show, the podcast that we do, Jeremy was at that event as well, and he got a bottle of batch number 1. I was in town when they were getting ready to release the second batch. Now, back when they started this, they would tell you when they're going to release the next batch. So I knew that they're releasing batch number 2. And, it's not that long ago now, but things have changed even in the last 4 years. Now they could, at that time they could announce there's going to be one. And I got there at like 4:30 in the morning, and I was, I don't know, number 10 in line or something like that, and was able to wait in line and get this bottle of batch number 2 that we've got here tonight. These days, they can't even do that anymore. People line up, and the birthday bourbon, they had people lining up a week early, and and then there's people that would set up chairs and then leave, and there's a whole thing that goes on. And I don't have the solution. I don't know how a distillery should appropriately handle super allocated bottles like that. I don't know what the answer is, because it's tough. I mean, they just want to get into the fan of bourbon hands. I mean, into the hands of bourbon fans. And what happens is it doesn't really happen. Despite their best efforts, it ends up going all to flippers and stuff like that. And again, a Jackie Zykan story that, she was, when they'd have these releases, she'd show up with donuts and stuff like that and give to people in line. And talking with Jackie, there's many people that would say, well, who are you? Why are you giving us donuts? And to me, if you're an Old Forester fan and you're lining up to get and you don't know who Jackie Zykan is, you're not really a bourbon fan, right? I mean, she was a key player there. And if you don't know who the key players are you really there because you want the bourbon, or are you there because you just want to be able to sell something? So that's the sad side of all that stuff. But that being said, this is batch number 2, the first one that went for sale in the gift shop. I picked it up myself, 111 proof, age stated 6 years, or 6 summers, as they say on the label. And this is what we've got. So let's talk about this one on the nose. Scott, did you get batch number 2 at all? Any bottles of that?
No, I've got 3.
Okay.
But 2.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about this one on the nose. Woohoo. Man, that's like tapioca, maybe. I mean,
I got some banana and
banana. Okay.
Good caramel.
Good caramel definitely is there. Yeah. Creme brulee, perhaps. I mean, I
think it's like the Bananas Foster.
Sweetens our Bananas Foster. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just say Bananas Foster when we're on mute.
sweet and desserty. Yeah, that's for sure.
I get just a hint of spice.
Just a little spice in there, which would be good. Okay. Anything else? Anybody wants to denote on this one before we get to tasting it? Man, there's a lot going on there. There's some other fruit in there too.
Is there a little bit of circus peanut like undertone?
Yeah. I think that makes sense, because it's kind of got that sweet, and circus peanuts have a banana like note.
That,
All made
that
up in a lab, of
spices,
course. Mhm.
that spices like black powder or cracked pepper or something, or not black powder, black pepper.
Black pepper,
or
yeah.
Cracked pepper, maybe.
Yeah. Boy,
I'm
it's
glad it doesn't smell like black powder.
All right,
Funny
we got
thing
it.
is they used to put black powder in whiskey.
Oh yeah, give it a little
Back in the
kick. Yeah. All right, let's taste this one. Cheers, gang. This is exciting. Let's see what we got here. I haven't tried this myself, so let's see what we got.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I like it.
Yeah. There's no holes in that one. As we say at the ABV Barrel Shop, when you taste things, you're looking for holes in the thing, in the palate, and there's just not any there. It's just solid across the board. Really.
A little bit of honeysuckle that might come off with a honey nose, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. Honeysuckle.
This is the proof on this one?
111. 111. And this one also lingers and lingers and lingers. Pretty nice amount of warmth coming off that 111 proof. It is just rock solid.
I was just looking, and last summer when we did, was the last round we did the sample roulette. I got the President's Choice number 3.
Okay.
When we did that one, and that one was similar to the JimBeam. It was all light, and I had even no idea it was Old Forester. And this one is the opposite. It's dark. It's rich honey. I mean, it's. Yeah. You ever see those videos they post of like the people that are molding candy, and it's got that, it's just, it's that sensation in my mouth of like the honey and stuff is just thick, warm, just kind of coating everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Gives you a little of that black pepper though across the tongue too. Gives you a little bit of that on for me. I'm getting some of that on the palate. Let's jump up here to Chris and Jim. Let's get you guys first. Chris, start with you, man.
Well, as far as nose, but I'm talking about the initial burn. It started off slow, then it built, and then it finally started releasing.
And I, for me on the palate, it was sassafras. It was that spice and brown sugar. It was getting brown sugar and kind of up front, and then this like a sassafras spice, like a Dr. Pepper.
Like Dr. Pepper. Okay. All right. Joe, how about you?
I don't really have much to add flavor wise, but man, it feels good in my mouth and it has a long finish. It's nice.
It is nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody's got a couple more of those bottles laying around, let me know. Mr. Bill, how about you, man?
I like it. It's awesome.
Okay. JL, we'll go to you.
Well, I tell you what, they're nailing it with it's rich. Like it is like syrup in your mouth.
Yeah.
It really is. But I tell you what, it is like you get that banana foster came across for me, and it moved into those dark fruits like that, like a really ripe strawberry, cherry.
Yep.
But then I agree with maybe you're talking about that when you get that Kentucky hug, man, it builds and it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. This one is definitely special for sure. So very cool. Casey, how about you?
Yeah, great mouthfeel, the honey characteristics up front, and then that spice that builds really nicely. Burnt brown sugar, baking spices, a little bit of kind of like a banana bread kind of thing at the end. It's really well put together.
Yeah. It's just amazing how long the finish sticks with you on this one. It just keeps going and going. Kent, how about you, man? What are your thoughts on this one?
This is a great big old bottle of candied yum. You remember seeing that video with Fred Minnick and Jackie on the old faux rye?
Okay.
where Jackie was just sitting there giggling, waiting for him to taste it because she knew how good it was.
Right.
I really see Jackie sitting like over in the corner, just sitting there giggling, waiting for us to taste it. This is that. It's that good.
That's that good. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. I'm trying to talk Jackie. I talked to her today, actually. I'm trying to get her to come to the ABV Barrel Shop for our grand opening. And she's a definite maybe. So we'll see. We'll see if I can swing that. So she is from St. Louis. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that, if you listen to our shows and stuff like that. So
really?
So yeah, which so works out well. I mean, she can always come and visit family and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of a draw coming to St. Louis. So we'll see. We'll see if we can get her here. All right, Jeff, how about you, man?
Well, boy, the first thing that hit me was how it stuck in my mouth. Just that it had legs in my mouth, oily, and moving it around in there. The spice level just built and built and built. It almost felt like when you're doing mouthwash, not in a minty kind of way, but that spice just built and built and hung there. So just it's fabulous.
Yeah,
it's fabulous. Thanks for putting this one in the box.
Yeah. It definitely makes it special. There, it is really something cool.
Steve, did you say this is 6 year?
It is, yes. It's age stated 6 years. So yeah, which seems young for a heritage brand, right? I mean, yeah.
For a president's pick, you would think they'd have something a little bit more agey.
Yeah, yeah. They tend to be from 6 year is the low end to 8 or 9 years. Some of them, most are in the 7, 8 years, occasionally 9. And so, yeah, interesting for sure. But I think, the benefit of having Jackie there was everything was by taste. And, you taste this one, it's like you just put that age statement aside. It doesn't really matter when it tastes like this. I would say probably not. It's just one of those things. If it's every bourbon has its time when it's right, and this one was definitely right when they made this pick. All right, we're going to put this one aside. We will come back to it. We go through these things 2 times and see what a little bit extra time does on each of these, and we'll go through this a second time, and we'll share some notes on that as we go through the second time. But let's grab this next one. So this one here is from Barrell Craft Spirits. It's 24 years old. This is rye whiskey, but the key here is finding 24-year-old rye whiskey in the United States. Probably not happening. I don't know where you'd go to get 24-year-old rye. So this is Canadian rye, which means it is utilizing a used oak barrel. What's kind of cool about this is Barrell bought this from Black Velvet Distillery out of Alberta, Canada, which, by the way, that distillery, since the time that they bought this, was purchased by Heaven Hill. Heaven Hill actually owns that now, but this is some of theirs. This is their high corn rye. So it's not, what's kind of cool about Canada is that like our bourbons, there's multiple grains in the mash bills. It's not like single malts like we might see in Scotland or Ireland, those type of things. This is mash bills with multiple grains. Or that, as we know that Canada famously does those blends as well, where they do everything individually, then blend it all together. So that's what we've got here. And Barrell did finish these themselves, as they do. We know that Barrell likes to buy whiskey and then add value to it, put their own little stamp on it. And they did it here as well. So these were finished in 2 types of barrels. And again, they finish them separately. So it's not like it's finished in both of these barrels. It's individually. It was either finished in Oloroso barrels, which is a Spanish sherry, or Armagnac barrels, which of course is a brandy out of France. So one of those 2. And again, they don't not finished in both. They finish them individually and then they blend. That's what Barrell does. They're great blenders. They blend it to taste then based on that finished whiskey. And that's what they come up with. This is, again, 24-year age stated Canadian rye whiskey. Comes in at 121.64 proof. So this is over 10 proof higher than our next highest one, which is the Old Foe at 111. So this is pretty stiff out there when you're talking about proof wise. So we'll see what all that means. So with that little bit of background, let's start talking about this thing. We'll start, as we do, on the nose. What are we thinking on the nose right away?
It smells, it noses more savory.
Savory. Okay.
There's also like this raspberry syrup.
Raspberry syrup. Okay.
I'm getting candy corn.
Candy corn.
Good weird or rye.
Yeah.
Looking almost cotton candy.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, this is a high corn rye. So I don't know the exact numbers or anything like that. I just know that the secondary grain is corn with this rye whiskey.
Yeah, the alcohol isn't shy on this one though.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what this means, but I get a whiff of fresh linen.
Fresh linen. Okay. I don't know that we've had one of that on our tastings before.
It means Steve was doing his laundry.
Could be.
Yeah, I was wearing a very clean shirt actually when I prepared these. So I don't know. There's definitely something unique there. We're all missing something here. There's something unique on the nose there. No one's hit it yet. I don't know what it is myself. There's something different there.
I'm with you, Steve. I can't put I want to say earthy, but that's not right.
Right.
It's not dirt.
No.
It's not quite grass, but there's
something going on there.
I can't remember who said savory, but it started taking me down that road.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, for me, I'm getting a Scotch light peat smell.
Light peat. Okay. Well, let's taste it. Let's see what we got here. 24-year-old Barrel Craft Spirits. They're gray label series.
I wasn't getting much on the nose, and I had to inhale a little bit stronger, and then I got a lot of ethanol burn.
Okay.
But the mouth is almost like Lisa and I actually just left the wine market here locally. It's almost like some sort of a wine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A little crisp, a crisp white wine, maybe.
Yeah, I like this. This is good.
Maybe some pears.
Pears, yeah. I think pears is solid for sure. But again, it kind of continues just to heat up, getting warmer and warmer. Never too hot though, and it kind of sticks for me in the mid palate, right in the middle of my tongue is where it's sitting, where it's sitting for me. It just heats up there.
The color threw me off when we got it. It's like, no way, this is 24.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, you weren't the only one that said that. We had some of that going on too. I think Mr. Bill was saying that before we even got started. It was like, this can't be 24. But again, the used barrels is the great equalizer there. I mean,
well, Steve, I will say that I do get, there's a hint for just a minute on the front of that my favorite flavor, butterscotch. It's not, it doesn't stay long,
right?
It's there for a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Getting a lot of citrus on the finish. Yeah, like more of like a lemony, not a sweet orange, but a lemony citrus.
Yeah. Yeah, not like drinking straight lemons, but more like a twist in a cocktail for me. It's like it's almost got a cocktailish taste to it.
It's kind of that bitter, slightly bitter lemon.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost like some zest.
Some zest, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think we were talking about like that earthy tone. It's almost like what I would equate to like a lemongrass, but not, you know, nose, but came into that zesty lemon. That's good. That's a good call.
I'm surprised they didn't call it lemon seagrass.
Lemon seagrass.
You start helping them name those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoever said butterscotch though nailed it, right?
Yes.
At first, right on the tongue, tip of the tongue was like, wow.
Yeah, I agree. Mr. Whitlatch, let's check in with you for your thoughts on this one.
This tastes the way that older seagrass should have tasted.
Right. Yes, we were quite disappointed. First of all, we love seagrass. The regular seagrass, fantastic. Then we got the old one. Now there's an even older one now, so we'll have to try that, I guess. What was it? Was it 16 year on the other one? Now they're coming out with I don't know, maybe a 20 year or something like that, seagrass.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we haven't tried that one yet. We did try that 16 year. We were disappointed in it because it kind of lost the seagrass charm, really. I mean, it just wasn't there. So yeah, this one though, I like what's going on here. This is good. Dave, how about you, man?
This might sound weird, but maybe like a breakfast cereal kind of thing.
Okay,
Like
yeah. No.
Maybe like an oatiness combined with kind of like a sweetness.
That's there. No, I 100% agree with you. That's right on. Yep. Yeah. Jason, how about you, buddy?
Yeah, I still get a lot of I can only compare it to like a raspberry syrup, strawberry syrup, kind of like go to IHOP, get it put over your pancakes, but it's because it's got the red fruit, but it's really sweet. I mean, you can make pie filling out of it.
Yeah.
But the heat is different than, so the Old Forester had the pepper. This one doesn't act like pepper. It's almost like a chili oil, because it just kind of, it's just heat, and it just sits there kind of just smoldering over the coals kind of heat. And it doesn't decrease, it doesn't increase.
No,
it sits there and goes.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't drink like a rye.
No, not at all. But to Jason's point, again, smoldering on the coals, the coals being, for some reason, launched right in the middle of your tongue. It's where it stays for me. So, yeah. Robert, how about you, man? What are your thoughts about this one?
Sorry, I was distracted.
Oh, no problem.
I definitely the burn more than the others. It's definitely a very long kind of like burn. It's not I guess overbearing.
No, it's not. Yeah.
But it's definitely I would have described the previous one. I mean, it was, you definitely had the spice, but without like kind of the burn at all.
Yeah.
It's just the spice. This one, you have more of that, and I think it's still in a good way. Like you like spicy food, you like those things on your burrito or whatever. Like it's there, and it sticks with you, but I think in a way that's enjoyable. But it beyond the spice, like and the other, like the corn and the other things that people have mentioned, like it's hard for me to really identify other flavors. So it's very much defined by that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Kent, how about you on this one?
Well, funny thing, Nate said before we tasted, he said, smells like burnt singed nose hair. Probably true.
How are you singeing the nose hair?
Raspberry. Yeah. Jason said the raspberry jam, and I wasn't quite. I was like you. I didn't really know what I was smelling. The raspberry jam kind of fits that. If you kind of mix raspberry jam with a white wine, that's
okay.
The flavor to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something to be said for that. Scott, how about you on this one, man? This is pretty darn good, don't you think?
Absolutely. Lisa's just now tasting it, but no, like I said, I didn't get much on the nose, but as I had to breathe in a little deeper, I got the ethanol, the little burn in my nostrils, but then on the palate, I'm almost with the guys on the jam, man. It's like, and it doesn't burn. It's not hot. It doesn't linger, and it finishes nicely. I can't put much more to the flavor yet.
Yes.
It's like a maple syrup even. I mean,
Scott, I think the issue here, we find this from time to time. It's not on all of them, especially coming in at 120 proof. That's pretty stern, 121 plus proof. And this is one I feel like you could drink glass and another glass and another glass, and it's one of those where till you fall off the porch, right? I'm
a high proof drinker. I love my Booker. I love 120 plus on the proofs when I drink. So it's very comfortable to me. It's a very palatable, delicious drink that I could drink for a while, but it's a good sipping whiskey. Obviously, you don't want, forever, but it finishes real nice, and it's a good feel on the mouth. It's just,
it'd be better with an ice cube.
Better with an ice cube. Okay. Scott, can you pan over to see your Booker's section? Your Booker's section. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go. There it is. Top shelf. It's all top shelf, baby.
Wow.
They're
You actually get, yeah, shelves from a local store when it was closed. And then,
yeah, Rite Aid.
At Rite Aid, yeah, right. So Rite Aid closes and he buys up all the shelves, and yeah.
That's the Booker stash there. But no, I do like those, and that's what I think this with that 121 plus proof. I mean, that's my ballpark, man. I like it.
Yeah. Okay. Casey, how about you, man?
I'm not getting as much fruit as everybody else. I mean, it's certainly an interesting, sample. I mean, I'm getting kind of more like sweeter, sweet and savory, graham cracker,
right?
Brown sugar. The heat is kind of makes it difficult to.
Yeah, you famously do not like. You don't like high proof. You're
I mean, this is good, but it's hard because it's kind of like, my tongue is kind of really sizzling right now. So it's hard to get anything else out of it. But it's certainly an interesting drink for sure.
Okay. All right.
So who here has had 291 M?
I have.
Well, this really tastes a bit like that.
Okay.
I think the 291 M is a whole lot sweeter, but there's the 291 M is their distillate that is aged in maple syrup barrels.
291 being the distillery out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. So yeah, check them out if you don't. They make some good stuff.
Good stuff.
Let's check in with the last couple of folks who haven't waited here. Jules, what
for me, as far as the nose, I found it sweet, but I found the bourbon sweeter, at least to me.
Okay.
The taste, exactly what you said. It hit across the palate, but lingered in the middle.
Yeah.
I was surprised at the color, that it was 121, like everybody said. And I had a hint of bitters in it. And going down, I tell you, that first swig, I drink a lot of high proof. It really caught me off guard. It really, but drinking it more and more, it is burning. It lasts longer, and then it goes down.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, how about you, buddy?
So I did not taste any linen, just in case you're wondering. But the sticking with the jam concept, I think it's a company's called Malkin's out of Canada, and black currant jam. They used to bring back, every time I go fishing up there, bring back a different kind of jam, and black currant versus some of the others. So that was sticking out for me. I really like this one too.
Okay. All right. Last but not least here, let's go to Chris and Jim and ask those guys their thoughts on tasting notes before we go back for round two of what we've already tasted.
Well, it's funny that somebody said maple syrup. I had not. Originally, I had peat.
Okay.
And then after it kind of settled, and I had a side pour, so maybe that helped too. But yeah, I'm getting that maple syrup too.
Okay. Jim, how about you, man?
I like the maple syrup descriptor. I mean, there's some wood, there's some sweetness in there. I still have that, it's that lemongrass, the lemon seagrass. I think kind of describes it for me still though on the finish. I like that, and it was a great finish. It kind of stuck with me a little bit, and it was good. It was a very good pour, enjoyable.
Yeah.
Steve, I got to say something here, just because I think when we start describing what we taste, obviously it's based on something we've either experienced before in a taste or a smell or something. And when I mentioned maple syrup, it's ironic that this morning I had waffles with some
butterscotch earlier.
I had rye barrel finished maple syrup from upstate New York that a friend gave me the other night. And I had that on my waffles this morning, and that brought me to this little bit of maple syrup thing in my head.
Yeah.
And so a lot of, I think, what we do is based on obviously our experiences. And I mean, it's not just oh, he said it, so therefore I taste it. It's actually what we tasted. And I would never taste it until I tried that maple syrup this morning. That is a rye finished barrel or rye barrel finished whiskey from upper state New York. It's like, it's crazy, but it just does that for me.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. All right, let's set that aside for the moment. And we're going to start all the way back at the top of the order. So this is always interesting too, when you jump down from 121 plus proof to a 86 proof, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to go all the way back to where we got this thing started with JimBeam. I may want to take a drink of water here. Good time to clear the palate as much as possible.
Well, I'll tell you up front, Lisa already drank that, so I can't try. I can't try it again.
No, that's all right. So this one, we're not going to call on anybody individually, but we would like you to share your notes. If you're getting something different or something that you want to state for the record, please, as we go through this, just say it in the group. So we'll start out talking on the nose on this one. I mean, it's just caramel goodness. Anything else?
Caramel, Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, lots of caramel for days on this one.
Yeah,
It's really good for an 86 proof.
Yeah. Yeah. What'd you say, Jeff?
I say
still reminds me.
I
Go
still
ahead,
get the floral, the lavender.
Okay.
Yeah, because it still reminds me of an ex-bourbon barrel scotch. Dean Stinner Kleinlich, because it's got that waxy fruity with as Jeff was saying, all of these beautiful floral notes.
Okay. Let's taste it
So
and see.
on the nose,
go ahead.
On the nose, after from 3 to 1, that smells like white icing from a Casey's donut.
Okay.
I was thinking like red apple.
Red apple. Okay. Let's see what we got on the taste. Despite the jump back down, it's still very good. Sometimes because the mouthfeel is good with this one, that's the difference. I think here it allows it to hold up, even jumping all the way that far back in proof. That to me, this one holds up. Sometimes you go from that high proof down to the lower proof, and it literally does taste like water, but not this one.
Well, I think
like
that it was drinking hotter than 86 when we first tasted it. I remember when I poured it into the glass, like it was the aroma just infused through. Now it's a little more muted, but still got the same characteristics.
Yeah.
Steve, do you happen to know if since this had been Jeremiah, would they have been double pot stilling, or did they have a column for the stripping run yet?
They would have had a column for the stripping run at that point. Yeah. Yep. In late 50s. So yeah, it was right before the time of Booker, who was, I think, 63 or something like that. He came into the equation. So
yeah, see, like you're saying, even with the Civil Water, it holds the proof perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it would have been interesting to try it at like 110.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That just wasn't an option back then, though. They 100 proof was really the top of the line. You get something bottle and bond that was high proof back in the day. But again, this holds up so nicely. It's just, you grab an 86 or an 80 proof today, to me, it's just, there's not enough there.
World of difference.
Well, it's a difference of it being a much younger product, and when you're watering down a younger product to get it to that proof versus something that's been in the barrel for that much longer, it kind of it spreads out a little. It's
despite and again, it's soft. But this one would still even hold up in a cocktail, whereas so many of those 80 proofs just disappear. It tastes like the ingredients, whereas this one, I feel like it could hold up based on the flavor that you're getting.
I'd hate to waste that one on a cocktail, to be honest with you. I mean,
I agree.
There's nothing up front that really wows you, but the creamy finish is just really fantastic to me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an amazing Dusty. So yeah, for sure. For sure. So, all right. Let's put that one aside. Now we're going to go back to our Old Forester batch number 2 pick. Let's talk about this one. This one has evolved a little bit. For me, I'm getting probably more Bananas Foster than before, even because to me the bananas is kicked up a little bit, but I am getting that caramel like you would get in Bananas Foster. You know, they're making it table side for you. You're in New Orleans. There's nothing, not a whole lot better than that. Yeah. There's flame involved, and then there's ice cream, and yeah, there's nothing wrong with Bananas Foster. That is some good stuff, man. Wow, that's just nice on the nose.
Yes, I'm sharing with the wife, and it's killing me right now.
And she left with the glass. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a winner.
This one that evolved to my grandma's pecan pie.
Pecan pie, okay.
Pecan pie. It smells a little different right now.
It has evolved, but a nice evolution for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, with all these sweet notes, I really appreciate that pepper bite though, because it's what keeps it balanced.
Right. Nice one.
Yeah. I agree. Kind of just really sweet, but then again, pepper on the finish. It's sticks with you just like it did. That stays the same. Finish is just every bit as good as round 1 as round 2. So really a nice one.
Yep. Good stuff.
Something to be proud of there at Old Foe for sure. Good stuff.
So what year was this?
This came out in 2018.
18. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yep. All right. I have no idea what barrel number they're on now. I don't even know. This is the only one I thought I'm going to get these on the regular basis. I got number 2. I thought I'll just keep getting these. That was the only one I ever got. So, and now they're, like I said, they still drop them, but it's random. They don't tell you. You just got to be there. So, all right. Last but not least, let's go back to our barrel. Our 24-year-old Canadian rye. This one's definitely the softest on the nose.
Yeah, where did it go?
Yeah, it's gone.
I got to hold my glass.
Anything else? Anybody want to note anything on the nose there?
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones where the high proof is holding the nose back.
Yeah,
it hides everything.
Yeah,
Steve, it's almost buttery on the nose. It has that very like rich buttery,
like a donut.
Donut
Krispy
or
Kreme donuts.
like a pound cake.
Krispy Kreme donuts. Okay. Yeah, I could see Krispy Kremes. Pound cake sounds same. Okay, let's try it.
I like that pound cake donut. I think that's one of those things I've been chasing in the smell.
Right. Oh man. I like this one. I mean, Barrel did good here, I feel.
What'd you say, Steve?
Yeah.
You like it?
Oh, I'm allowed to say it as the instructor.
I don't know.
I hear royalty.
Right.
Bill, for those of you that don't do these on the regular, Bill's famous tagline is "I like it." So,
Yeah.
Steve, you get a discount.
yeah, I should get a discount.
It's only 500.
Discount, yes.
Yeah. Still got to pay him. Yeah. Anything else anybody wants to say about this one?
Well, Steve, the only thing I will say is, like, to your point, Old Forester is what kind of set the hook. I was really intrigued about the JimBeam, and I'm like, we'll see what the barrel does. I'm really impressed with the barrel.
Yeah. I am too, especially after, I was kind of bummed when we did that seagrass one. I was actually so excited because I do really like regular seagrass. And then we did that 16-year-old one. And to me, that was a bust. I was just deflated. I thought that was not great, especially for the price. It's about $250. I mean, this didn't live up to what I would like, but this one's nice, unique. If you're having friends over and you want to pour something different, something unique, I think this is in that wheelhouse. It's definitely different. So,
Steve, I don't know if it's the Armagnac finish, but I'm definitely getting a much more tropical finish now. Tropical fruit,
Mhm.
you know, fruit striped gum, but a tropical fruity finish for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Whoa.
Sorry. Take my head in shame.
Yeah, you'll be getting an invoice for that one. That was clearly just a ripoff.
That's
So
full price too.
yeah. Well, there you go. There is our three for the evening for $1,000 tasting, and I don't know. I was impressed with all of them. Let's go around the horn and let's just ask everybody what they thought overall about all three, and then and pick your favorite. So I'll start up in the corner here. Chris is the first one on my screen. So Chris, what are your thoughts?
I'm actually go with the Beam.
The Beam, okay. Beam. Overall, how did you like these? Was it a good night, or was there any that you just didn't think lived up to something that should be in the $1,000 tasting?
I was more surprised with the barrel. I'm sorry, Chris. I was really surprised with the barrel.
Yeah. Did surprise me too. Jim, how about you? What are your thoughts of the tasting this evening, and what was your favorite?
All in all, you know, excellent. All three. I think for me, it really came down to the Old Forester and the barrel, and I think that the barrel edges it out.
Okay.
It's so complex, and it's got the proof, and it's got the bite, and it's got the finish. It's the full package. It really is.
Yeah. All right. Next one on my screen is Kent. Kent, what are your thoughts?
Well, the first time through, I Old Foe was by far the best. Second time through, I think Beam was probably the best. Overall, I would say Old Foe.
He covered it all. That is very politically correct way to do that. You covered everybody. That's nice. Good work there, Kent. Excellent. All right, Jeff, you're next one on my screen, buddy.
Well, boy, not a dud in the batch, obviously, and pretty nice variety. I think after the second time through, my top would need to be the barrel, but it all depends on the night.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I guarantee that,
because there's not a bad one in the bunch here.
I could say tomorrow probably the Old Forester if I'm looking for something that's got a little more pop and broadness. That long finish. Some nights I'm looking for that. The Beam was great too. So nice job curating this
thank you
package here. But I'm going tonight at least with the barrel.
Okay. That's what we're here to do. So Scott, did you give a preview of what your favorite of the evening was? Tell us a little bit about the night tonight for you, and then ultimately what was your favorite?
I was unimpressed honestly with the JimBeam from previous Dusties. Lisa loved it, so she drank the rest of it. The Old Forester, I've had several of those choices and they were good, the President's Choice, but the barrel just blew me away. So I was a big barrel fan, not up front, because when you look at the colors and the history of the bourbon and the deep, rich, dark whatevers, the barrel blew me away. I'm really happy with that one, and that's my winner for the night.
Yeah, that's a thing that we do as bourbon fans. The first experience that we have is when it's in the glass. We look at it and we start judging it already. And this one you can't judge by what you're looking at in the glass, because it definitely looks light straw colored. I mean, and so that's usually not a good sign when you're talking about bourbon. But this isn't bourbon. This is something totally different altogether. And once you explain what it is, it makes some sense. And it's a great product. Does Lisa want to vote? Is she still around there, or is she gone?
She's outside smoking a cigar.
Oh, okay.
My wife.
Okay, grab her real quick, and then I'll jump to Casey. We'll come back when Lisa gets back here. Casey, how about you, man?
Well, I thought it was a lot of unique offerings here. Very interesting stuff. They're all likable for different reasons. I think that, like I said, when I poured the Beam initially, I mean, I was pretty far away from the glass and the aromatics were just rolling out of that glass. And I was like, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
So I would probably have picked it if it wasn't for the other offerings. Because the Beam didn't hold up the second time around.
Okay, okay.
But the Barrel did. I
Okay.
think the Old Foe was the one that kind of kept true all the way through, and definitely that's my pick for tonight.
The Old Foe is, or the
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I put you down early there for the Barrel. Okay. All right, but that's too high. All right, Lisa, you're back. What was your favorite of the night here?
My favorite was the first one.
Okay, the Beam.
1967 Beam.
Yeah.
I liked how it was buttery to me and it was smooth. And
Yeah.
I like.
What I'm really liking about this so far is we're getting votes for everything. And there's no runaway, which I think that's good. I feel like, again, curation of 3 unique things that are different and all great. I'm pretty happy about how the voting's going so far. So it's cool. Jules, how about you, man?
First of all, I want to say thank you for putting it on, and I really enjoyed listening to everyone's input. It's really helping me.
It's fun, right? Doing these group tastings.
It really is. And the JimBeam I found exceptionally smooth. It was a pleasant drink, especially for something that's 86 proof. The Old Forester, I really liked. The Barrel tasted better the second time around. To me, it's a tough choice between OF and Barrel, but I'm going to swing to OF.
Okay. All right. This is really interesting. This could be anybody's win here. All right. Mr. Bill.
Yes. Yes. I like all 3 of them for different reasons. I'm gonna say that probably by the narrowest of margins, the Barrel Craft.
The Barrel. Okay. All right. Excellent. Jason, how about you, buddy?
Yeah, I think I agree with the consensus. This isn't about picking out which one is best so much as just which one you were in the mood for tonight, because they're all just exceptional. And also, really, I think one of the funnest thing about it is that none of them matched expectations coming into it.
Right. Yeah.
Even, lowest proof one still sat on your tongue and lasted for an hour.
Right.
And so I think tonight for me, the big one was the Old Forester, just because so much of that deep, rich sweetness, but also that pepper bite. So you had just this contrast going full bore.
Okay. All right. Dave, got you down next on my screen.
Yeah, I mean, the Barrel was amazing just in terms of going in with extremely low expectations, and it just is up there with the other 2, like, no doubt. All 3 are amazing. I would say if I could have another pour of one of them right now, it would be the Barrel, just because it was so interesting and unexpected. But I think my favorite probably was the Beam.
Okay.
And I think the only thing that like suppressed the Beam a little bit was just the high proof of the other 2. I think if I was just drinking the Beam alone, it would have been a lot easier to appreciate more going forward. But I think on the first taste, I think the Beam was definitely the winner to me.
Okay. I'm gonna jump in now too, because this is gonna make it interesting with my vote here. I thoroughly enjoyed all 3 of these. I was just, again, hadn't tried any of them. So, I mean, I've tried Old Dusty Beams, but again, it's hit and miss. And tonight we had a hit for sure. The Old Forester, I've tried some of the other batches, but I had never tried batch number 2, and I really enjoyed that. And the Barrel, again, it's just, I guess it's they do all this blending, and sometimes blending is going to hit and sometimes it's not. I think they hit perfectly this time. I'm going to give my vote, because to me it's so close, and here's why I'm going to do this. I'm going to give my vote to Beam, because that's the only one that came in tonight as a bottom shelf item. I mean, it was a low shelf item back in '67 when it was sold, and the fact that it can hang out with 2 super premium products, I'm going to give it my vote. And the reason why I'm voting, I jumped in the middle of it, I usually wait to the end, is because right now we are tied up 4-4-4 Beam, Old Foe, and Barrel. And I think that's pretty cool with just 5 votes left. So we'll see what happens the rest of the way. But I think it's a great night for sure. And we're tied going in right now with everything. Mr. Whitlatch, what was you think of tonight? What's your favorite?
You couldn't have picked 3 different whiskeys.
I know. Yeah.
I like the Beam best. It's the most approachable of the 3, and I think maybe there's that dusty ambiance, the dusty mystery, that sort of thing. It's got going for it that the others don't. I did like the Beam best.
Yeah, I'm an old guy. This is older than me. I was born in '68. This one was born in '67. I think that's pretty cool too. The fact that that's kind of a cool twist to it too. All right, Nate, you're next one on my screen. What are your thoughts of the evening, and what are you voting for?
Well, it's tough because it's hard to compare these 3.
I know, yeah.
Considering like you have a pretty low proof, a pretty high proof, and then a fairly down the middle. So it's hard to. I mean, it's apples to oranges, really. But I'd be happy with having any of these 3 in my collection. As I usually don't go for like high proof or low proof. I usually like more middle proof, but the low proof has a lot more to it than a lot of low proofs. The Beam does, and the high proof actually has like more interesting characteristics to it than just like, oh, it's super hot,
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to pick one. I guess I'll pick the Old Forester just because that's the proof that I typically like. But I like all 3 of these, and I'd be happy with any of them.
Very good. Very good. Got someone calling you there, Nate. I heard dad. All right, Robert, you're next.
So I agree with what everyone has said, and I don't need to rehash it all. I liked all 3, but I think I liked the Barrel, especially again going back through like the second time. But I am going to agree with my brother and say the Old Forester.
Old Forester.
I think that one to me just stood out the most. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here's where we're at here. This may be the last one tonight. Joe, I don't know where he's at. He's away from his computer there. He may be within earshot. I don't know. But here's where we're at. Beam has 5, Old Foe has 6, and Barrel has 4. JL, we're going to go to you, which may be the last one of the night. We'll see. We'll see if we can get Joe in here to vote. But what are your thoughts?
All right. So scratch in Barrel. That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
But I will tell you, like I came in, like I was really excited about I love Old Forester. Like I'm a little bit of an Old Forester geek.
Yeah.
And so I was real looking. I hope my expectations, but didn't like kill that one. But look, I wouldn't take any one of these out of my cabinet for sure.
Right. Yeah.
I'd keep those around forever. But I think the Barrel, I believe I'd go the Old Foe second, and then that Beam. But shoot, I agree. Any other night, like you could mix all these up. I like they're all freaking great.
Yeah. Great flight for sure. All right, Joe, if you're within earshot here, you can come in and vote. It could come down to you here. We do have right now, Old Foe is up 6 to 5 to 5. Looks like Joe is not here, so we got to go with that. With that, I'm going to declare Old Forester the winner of the night, but by the closest of margins. The other two are tied at 5 for second place. I mean, that is pretty darn good. The fact that we got that equal in the voting here shows you how good the selections were. So really some great whiskey, and I know I had a great night. Hopefully you guys did as well. On that note, we'll say goodbye. I stick around, talk whiskey, talk whatever you like. I hang out, but we do, of course, record these for the people that missed tonight, and hopefully they'll enjoy this and enjoy the whiskey like we did, and have some fun tasting notes as well there. So with that, we'll say goodbye to our at-home audience, people that are watching on YouTube, and I'll stick around, talk whiskey. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Steve.